Okay, so this is really the rough way of doing the stern and bow boards that I'm going to attach the pipe to. But anyway, here's the gunnel pipe, PVC, and then here's a piece of 1x11 pine. And yeah, so I just kind of free-handed the bow line that I wanted, and over here did the stern line. You can kind of see it, and yeah, just free-handed it how I like it. This is just a rough and dirty kayak. It's not supposed to be awesome. I'm just doing this, you know, trying to do this in a day or two. And here you have the stem and stern boards for the kayak, and I painted them last night and they're still not dry here 16 hours later. Not totally dry, so I can't really put this stuff in place yet, but I've taken my PVC here, 2 gunnels, keel line, and two shines. Sheens, however you say it. I always read that word out and I say it. I'm cutting them all to about 17 feet in length, and this is going to just be a very organic boat. It's just going to kind of come together in a sort of haphazard way, figuring it out as I go. I don't have any measurements that I've set up. So okay, so I'm going to put these together, then I'm going to set the width with a spreader, a couple spreaders, tie the ends together, and then put the deck together like that, then add the boards. Alright, so everything on this boat is being eyeballed, and I'm starting to doubt whether it's going to come together or not, but I've got the gunnels cut to 17 feet, and then I measured back to here for the deck beam behind me for it's about 9 feet from the bow, a little more than halfway, so that hopefully my center of gravity will be somewhere in here. I'm just eyeballing it. I didn't do it measure, so when I go in the water it should be close enough, but I'd have to take into account the length of my stem and stern boards, which I just don't want to put that much energy into this. I have a limited amount of time to do it. So now I'm making the deck beams to tie it together. But you can see here, I had to cut out this radius, or whatever, circumference, I don't know, the stinking edge of this thing. I'm too tired to think. I had to cut this out so that it would fit here, so I'd get a little better joint. I zip tied it together. It's totally dirty and not very tight, but hopefully it'll work, because I'm going to go maybe to the end of this. But in any case, I'm going to do that for everyone. Of course, the hole saw that I got especially for it was not just didn't work. It was just it didn't have the pilot starter thing in the middle, and so it just skipped all over the place. It was a nightmare to use. So I ended up doing this just with the jigsaw and eyeballing it. Now I'm doing this one, and this will go. I'm going to cut this so that it's just about so the width is the same here, which is just about between 21 and 22 inches. I didn't exactly measure this. I just cut the inside one to 20 inches, and that will give me a little more than 22 inches on the outside here, which, if you have experienced kayaking, that'll tell you something. If not, then you'll probably go wider. But you should research that if you're building a boat and you don't know what you're doing. But I have built a few wood boats, or a couple wood boats, and I know the width that I like is 22 inches or narrower for something I'm not going to be doing any touring or anything like that, just to putt around in. I want something thin so I don't have to raise my arms up. So this here, I've got to put it at the right width, and right here where I got my marks, cut these. I eyeballed all the angles. Basically, I saw a guy in a video on YouTube do this, that you can melt PVC and bend it, and then it's strong once it cools off. So I got a candle, went to the gas station, got a candle, and I'm going to cut these so that they fit similar to the other ones in there, and I want it to be about like so. But so anyway, this outside width needs to be 22 inches here, and then it'll taper after this point, but this is for getting in and out of the boat. I need to be able to get in and out. I won't have these shoes on, but it'll be somewhere in this height. Will it be this height or that height? Who knows? I don't know. But it'll work or it won't. Okay, that's it. Okay, I've got a few of the deck beams in, and let's just go through this a little bit. After I started, I had actually 3 of the deck beams in. I noticed that my ends were no longer in the same spot, and somehow they got shifted before I did the first one and didn't notice it. But that's okay, because I really don't care. I will just trim one to make it fit. And then I did several styles on this. Okay, the first one I did was this one, where I did one really nice zip tie here, and I did this cut here to make it have a little better stiff fit somehow. And then I came over here. Okay, then the second hole I did like this, and it made it, the hole saw didn't work. I did 2 hole saws. The first one didn't work at all. The second one made the holes too big, so I ended up putting this on, like, it wouldn't stand up straight. I was hoping to be a nice tight fit and it would help it be good, but I got it to be okay by pulling this forward and using these zip ties, and there's leverage this way, so I can kind of pick up the boat or this at this point without it twisting. So that's pretty good, as long as those hold. However long the plastic holds, I don't know. I bent the pipes here over my candle, which was another gas station run candle and lighter, and melted these. And of course, when I bent them, the first one I did, it bent fine, both sides, and I just got this little bit of weirdness here. I think if you melt it slower, it works better. Oh, anyway, then I put this one mostly in, and then of course the one end cracked. One of them split when I put it in. This one here, though, I tried to bend them too fast, I think, and didn't let it evenly heat up, so it got like this over the candle. Of course, it's nice and black in any case. So that's bent into the right place, and then I trimmed the end so that it was the same height and stuck it in. And it looks, it's pretty good. Little knee height there. And then I put this one in, and instead of a single hole, I put 2 holes so that I'd get some lateral stability, because of course those holes are too big. This joint hole here is too large, because the pipe thing, even though I tried to measure it really closely, doesn't, I don't know. Man, you read the labels, and I looked at it visually, and it seemed really tight, and it's not even close. But I have 3, triangle there being pulled from both sides. The first side, it pulls against the side pretty well. Then you pull the other side, it pulls it away. But you can see that it's, when I try and twist it, it doesn't twist too much. Actually, that one doesn't twist at all. Anyway, so at this point, I feel like after putting, I have one more tie to do on this one. Okay, but after putting these in, I'm now going to lift this up on my sawhorse boxes and put the end boards in and trim up the end of the pipe so that they fit flush the way they're supposed to against the end board. And then I will have kind of something to hold the shape there. Then I will flip it over and put a spacer to hold the keel up while I add the stringers and the other pipes, because I'm now going to have to bend all of the pipes to the shape that I want. Okay. I got the ends and the bow here. I'm measuring to trim these up so I can put the stem board in, and I'm putting it across like that, and I hand drew some really, really awesome lines that look like they're, actually now I'm looking at them, they look like they're not right. I need to go down to the middle or bow it out more. Yeah, I'm going to adjust that in just a little bit, and that freehand, and then cut it freehand. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Okay, here's the bow assembled so far.
I found one bolt that I went ahead and put through right there. It's going to stick out, probably going to poke into whatever fabric I end up getting, but that'll be fine. And other than that, I put the ties first and it sagged a bit, so I put the bolt in that was laying around here. I'm going to probably go buy another bolt for it, and you know, whatever, make it tighter, because it does make it a whole lot tighter. You can see the cutaway for the keel line that'll go. The keel will go right in here, and hopefully it'll be pretty good. It's all eyeballed. I don't know if it's straight sideways, front to back, left to right, but it's only going in a curvy river, so. Okay, I have the stern in. Looks straightish, pretty straight. Who knows? We'll see once we paddle it. I'm going to put 2 bolts in. I had like the bolts on the front. Got currently the zip ties are holding it in. Just drill through everything, the one below, and then you've got a place to put the zip ties in, hold it up. So from this end, I've flipped the kayak over so that I can install the keel line and then put spacers and have the and then start doing the I forget what they're called, but the cross pieces, the ribs. And what I want is I want it to bend so that there's just a slight upwards bend, which would be downwards in this position of the deck. And so it's hard to see it, but I've arranged my sawhorses so there's kind of a naturally a little bit of a upward sweep to it. And then I'm going to have to adjust the length. I'm going to attach the keel here and at the other end, and then I'm going to have to adjust it, probably the length of it, so that I will have the so that it'll pull itself into a rocker of about 2 inches towards the stern and the bow, compared to the middle. And I'm going to have to eyeball that. It's going to be a mess, but we'll see how it goes. If it's close, that'll be fine for me. But anyway, this is the tricky part, so I'm going to have to install the keel and then adjust the length after, by cutting it and re-drilling holes and stuff. Okay, up here at the bow, I have the keel strapped in place, at least temporarily. We'll see how it goes once I put the other stuff in to see how stiff that is. But you can see it's kind of, hold on, excuse my camera work here. I'm twisting this here and it's not moving at all. So once that has all the ribs in, it should be pretty good. I'm not going to put that many ribs, but anyway, it should be pretty good. And then the other end is still not in place, but I'm going to raise this keel line up on spacers, and then I can put in, well, then I can cut the other end, because the other end needs to be cut to length over here. The stern needs to be cut to length, and the rib, and then I can do that, put the spacers in, cut it to length, strap it down, add my my ribs along the way, and then we'll have pretty much the shape of the boat. So I've gotten to where I put a couple of ribs in, and I've got the spacers set up. Well, before I talk about the spacers, let's say I've got the keel line here so that it's fairly, it's still moving. It's not tied down yet, but it's showing the curve of the keel, and I've got the deck. The gunnels are going to be, it's got a pretty good curve on it. Go. It's got a pretty good curve on it from here, and showing, just a little bit of curve down at the bow, which is pretty much what I want. And I want a few inches, or 2 inches or so, of rocker to the keel here, and we'll see if it's like that, but it looks pretty close for eyeballing everything. Okay, so the way I got the height right, or the way I wanted it was I came and put these spacers in. I've got 3 of them, one here, one in the middle, and one at the back. I did that one first because I wanted that to be higher and then tapering towards the back. So I cut this one just about a 1/2 inch shorter than that one, and then this one visually making, just by, raising this up so that I could get the right one. They're not tied in permanently here, they're just here to keep this up so no one has to hold it for me. And that's how I got my shape here. Then I went ahead and put in, well, let's see here, just to say so that in the end, what we're going to have is the last stringer is going to go here and be strapped on to the edge like this, and so you can see that's a pretty good angle on the edge of the boat here. And so the way I got this width was I just subtracted in about 3 inches here, or I don't know, about that far on each side. You can see marked my things here, and then I melted them over a candle. The PVC, I saw somebody else's video on YouTube that showed marking it over the candle, melting it over the candle, and then being able to bend it, and then it rehardens. And drilled the appropriate holes. Always do a missed hole, the wrong side, then realize I did it wrong. Do it here, then do these 2. Tie it through the zip ties. I've been breaking about 1 out of 4 zip ties just by pulling it too tight. So hopefully these last a little bit of time, but you can see it's pretty strong. One here, got this one here. Just measured the distance in. I did this one first, measured this distance across, came over here to where I put my holes, measured the distance across. The difference between those 2, I made the same difference between these 2. And so what that does is it was, I don't know, it was like 1 3/4 inches narrower here than here at these points. So these points, if I bring them in the same amount, I'll have a nice fair curve, the same as the gunnel. And that's how I'm going to do the rest of them. The next one I'm going to do is going to be right here. And so I'm going to measure across here again, and across here, and then take the same difference. Looks like it's going to be a couple inches narrower. And I'll subtract the couple inches from this distance here to over here, and that'll give me this distance. And then I bend it down, and then I just have to fine tune the height until it just barely fits right under here. And it should be okay. It's been okay so far. All right. Okay, so let me get this measurement right here. I'm going to go from the inside edge to the inside edge of this right here. It's about 19 and a half from inside edge to inside edge. And over here at these holes, it's about 17, so that's 2.5 inches. So this needs to be 2.5 inches narrower than this one, so somewhere in the middle of this, approximately, so somewhere, let's do it underneath. So 2.5 narrower, right? So 2.5, this one's 18. I like 18. 18 sounds good to me, so it's going to be 16 and a half on my measurement over here. Plus, that's the difference, plus the middle. Okay. So, I know you guys want to see me measure something here. See how goofy it is. If any of you guys are professional woodworkers or professional at making anything, please don't watch this video. Because it's totally just sketchy. Okay, so what were my numbers?
17 and 16?
16 and a half, that's right, 16 and a half. So it's 18 and 16 and a half. So I need to come in at least that height over there of this. So I'm going to give myself some extra so I can trim it out later, because if I don't, I'm going to regret it. So I'm going to measure from there, which I know is too long, and then go from here to, probably need a straight edge instead of this tape measure, but limited tools again. So that was 16 and a half. We're going to go here, so I'm going to melt these things there and there, And then I'm going to add some extra here to make sure I got the height I want. Nice. We'll Photoshop that out. Okay. So I'm going to cut this one. Switching my battery pack all day. I'm a little tired. I thought we put the battery pack in instead of the screw. The drill. Okay. Alright, so we have that. Now I'm going to melt it, and I'm just going to double check here. See, that's extra height, not a lot, but about an inch, so I'll trim the ends off. And here's my fancy thing here. Here, go ahead and come around the other side, Mike. Come around the other side. So here we have my high-tech molding system. It's probably cleaner to do this. I just go to my mark and just start melting it. Try and do it evenly and a little bit wider. I've made a couple that have broken. Again, I saw that somebody on YouTube said you could melt the PVC and then it would be just fine. So I'm like, okay. And of course, it covers it in black so I can't see my line anymore. And so that's you know, that's just kind of how it goes. I know what angle I want my this to be at the end, so I'm just kind of evenly melting this so I get enough area to bend this almost at a 90 degree. But I know I don't want it at 90 degrees. I want it to be less than that, or less of an angle, because I want to have a little bit of edge to it, to the boat. They're all about the same, so I just gotta evenly heat it up here. But anyway, if you never melted PVC before, it's awful fun. You can do it over a candle like this, 99 cents at the gas station. It's totally tearing again. I don't know why it's tearing so much. Okay, I've done this several times now and it hasn't torn this much. Okay, so here we got it. It worked this time without tearing. The difference that I felt was I just bent it quicker. So I'm going to put it at approximately my angle. Should be about like that. And then I got to hold it till it cools just a little bit. As long as all the angles are the same, it's fine. Towards the end, you can have more of an angle. But anyway, just look at the shape of the boat off of pictures or whatever else. Okay, so there you can see it's already stiffened up pretty good. I'm going to actually check it. And there we go. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, we'll do the other side. Alright, so we'll do the other side and they'll match it up to be the same. And that's it. There's my little blue mark. I'm going to do it right around there. Okay. Alright, so here's the, this one's still melted over here. And this is the way I just figured out. I'm figuring everything out as I go. If I do this, well then they're the same as the other ones, right? So I'm going to do it this way. And look at it, make sure they're the same. Okay. Alright, they look pretty close, right? So I'm going to hold this till it cools more. And then I'll put it in here, and I'll have to trim the lengths to get those right, and then tie it down. Okay. Okay, so here I'm going to have to kind of guess how deep this goes in to the bottom there. And so I touch it up here, make sure it looks pretty. Okay, so last night we were able to finish doing all of the the ribs. This was the last one here. I think I showed it. Anyway, it melted perfectly with a little notch there. Stuck it in and tied it up. Now we're ready to do the stringers. Put those in. Cut them to lengths. Cut the angle on them and tie them to the ends, and then we will be ready to go. I tied all of the keel to all the ribs, and it's very tight now. Okay, here is the kayak. The frame is done. It's amazingly better than what I thought it would be so far, having not paddled it or skinned it or put it in the water. But it looks like it's really straight and everything is set up correctly. If you're familiar with kayaks, you'll see the bow area is pretty standard. It's got a narrow V in the center and a pretty standard front that's very similar to how I have two Chesapeake Lightcraft Patuxent boats, the old 19 and the 17, and this is very similar to that in the front, but in the stern you can see that there's quite a bit of wicked flare on the sides here, which is a little more Greenlandy and narrow, small volume and all that kind of thing. But it looks pretty straight to me. But this has got to last till the summer, when I can come back here to my mother-in-law's house in Texas and skin it and put it in the water. Because until then, it's just a mystery. It's we don't really know how it's going to be. So anyway, there it is. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm very happy with how it's come out so far.
Okay, so the boat's done. Well, the frame's done. I got a perfect amount of foot room here just on accident. Paddle's done, and we're gonna have to wait till summer to see how it goes. You can see it's very stiff. It's stiffer than I thought it would be. I still have to put a bolt in the end there, but I'll be sitting about this high. Show you the flex on the end of it. See, it's a little more flexy than my plywood boats are, and my CLC boats, but it's pretty good. I can't twist anything or move anything, so pretty good. Here, show them the keel. We'll be able to lean it up, lean on the edge to turn it. There you go. That's it.